Ooh, all right. Got to somewhat see Dragon Ball Super Hero. Even though people are basically saying it Dragon Ball Superhero, and I'm like, I don't like that, so we're just gonna call it Dragon Ball Super Heroes. There we go. So instead of talking about what my thoughts of the movie, I'm just gonna talk about everything that I've seen and witnessed, and I'm like, this needs to be talked about. So, where does this take place? It's a good question. And that's going to be the question that's going to continue to gravitate, considering this was just made by itself. It's just like the whole thing of in the Tournament of Power, the whole new boost for Vegeta was not in the manga. So they had to make something that actually goes toe to toe with Goku's Blue Super Saiyan Kaioken times 20, I guess is what it was. So, yeah, we have to figure that out. It's like, yeah, they had to figure that out, and they decided to just make one extra one where it's a little bit of the pinnacle of getting even forward for Blue Super Saiyan for Vegeta. Yeah, it's kind of like the same issue, but at least the good is that it's bad news too. The good news is that there's no good news. Sorry, there's no good news. The bad news is kind of like what happened with Dragon Ball Super Brawly, which for us Americans, they thought it was a good idea to rush it as fast as possible to be in theaters versus wait until Tournament of Power finishes showing up on freaking Toonami, then do the movie. It's not, you don't need to rush it, and they rushed it and like, fuck this, and there we go. And it's like, there's many questions for those who actually were watching Tournament of Power, then watch Brawly, then continue to watch Tournament of Power. This one is a little bit worse because we don't know when this is in the timeline of Dragon Ball Super. Now, if the show the anime decides to actually be like, okay, and then we're going to take after superheroes, even though it's like, the manga doesn't work like that. So if we're going to do, I guess technically they can change stuff and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, cool. One thing they definitely did was that they now gave Android 20 canon. Now she is canon in the whole entire Dragon Ball series. She is now canon. She actually is the wife of Dr. Gero, and they had a son who died in the Red Ribbon Army, and he was inspiration to make Android 16. The interesting crazy part will be like, okay, then what you're gonna do next? Because apparently you had another son, another child. We don't know if it's a female or male, but either way, he had a second kid. I think most likely a son, and that second son had had a son. Yeah, so Dr. Heedle, that is his parent. The messed up part is like, you actually cherish one kid versus the other, and it's like, that's messed up. No wonder, they have no idea of his looks or his name or anything. They just know that he exists, and it's like, they have no idea of anything. And then of course, well, technically the grandson shouldn't exist either, but well, considering he did lots and lots of stuff, they kind of were like putting two and two together, but they didn't give a shit about his freaking parents though. Me, if I'm a betting man, I actually like, let's make more things canon. I think Android 13 and 15. I think those two could actually be something. So I would say that chances are Android, I think it's basically Android 13, that's his kid. That's the second child. So at least we have something where it's like, he also did some inspiration, not only for N16, but 13 too, and there we go. I'm trying to remember what 15 looked like. I remember 14, or at least 4. It's like, either way, there's one that was purple skin, and I'm like, that's not his kid in the way you think. He's kind of like, yeah, Android 19. But it's like one of them most likely is maybe inspiration from his child, second child. Bonus points if he actually made him. No, never mind. Can't say that because it's like, oh, well, he was a child when the Cell games happened. It's like, oh, frick. So that means that, no, orphanage? I don't think he was in an orphanage. So that means that his parents were still around. So I don't know. Sorry about that. Let's see. So, hey, at least that's good. More canon. Good. I'm glad Android 20 gets to actually be a part of something. Sorry, Android 21. Sorry about that. He was like, yeah, Dr. Gero is Android 20, you idiot. Oops. Anyways. Let's see, anything else that actually makes... Oh, yeah, one thing about Pan was kind of weird is the fact of she didn't know how to fly. But in Dragon Ball Super, as a baby, she flew around so much. So you're telling me from being a baby to being a 3.5-year-old, she forgot how to fly? The hell? It's like, yeah, the hell? That's kind of impossible there. That's like, what the fuck? That's one thing that's a little bit of issue of continuity issues. I would have preferred that they had like some kind of backstory of where she kind of is afraid of flying. So that's the thing of where something happened. She experienced something very messed up. And because of that, she's fearful of flying. Every single time she tries to fly, she remembers that moment and then she refuses to fly. So it's something where it's like she actually has to get over her fear of flying. And that is a better payoff than the whole thing of she doesn't know how to fly, which in Dragon Ball Super, she does know how to freaking fly. So you kind of screwed yourself there. All right, next thing, Gohan needing glasses. What? It's like, then does that mean Goten needs glasses? Like, I would prefer, and that's what I was thinking, is that he has fakes on. Those are fake glasses. Come on, man, they're so fake. And then it's like when he turns Super Saiyan and above, oh, well, he doesn't need the glasses anymore, even though we saw him in Super Saiyan form using the glasses still. The hell? So he was squinting, keeping the glasses on and stuff. Man, what the frick? What about the fact that the Red Ribbon Army is back? It's like the Red Ribbon Army is back, but Pilaf and the gang are nowhere to be found. The fuck? It's like, yeah, those three were never found at all. It's like, hold on, let me try and remember. I think they became helpful with Bulma. So it's kind of weird that they didn't even try to go back to him. They're like, yes, you returned. Yes. And it's like, who are you? I'm Emperor Pilaf. It's like, the Dragon Balls, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, that would have cost a lot more freaking stuff. But it seems like those three have just not even been remembered that, oh yeah, they were there, weren't they? Not to mention they did grow a bit. They had to have grown a bit, though, because it's been maybe close to 4 years. 2 years, 2 or 3 years. But even so, it's like, yeah, so where are those guys? What the hell? I think that's about all that really needs to be mentioned. One interesting fact, though, has to be the fact of where the Red Ribbon Army decided to bend themselves. It's like they tried to bend it to be like, we're the good guys and they're the bad guys. And it's like just bad information, some fake news and everything, misinformation stuff. And it's like, what the frick? And note, well, technically, you gotta admit to Dr. Hito, he actually was using them so he could actually get what he wanted to do, which is make superheroes. Yeah, but he did it at a cost of making a big machine, big green machine there. And, well, they could have actually have done something better than that. It's like, if they would have went this idea of where Pilaf showed up again as the Dragon Balls, and then he got the Dragon Balls and he wished back Cell. Yeah, the reason why they didn't want to bring Cell in Dragon Ball Super, which is kind of funny, where it's like, and in this one, you did bring him back as a bring another version of him back, and he did have the freaking patterns on him. That's the thing. The patterns was a hassle for them. Even when it comes to digital, it's like even digital, they're a hassle for you. Yes, and it's like that's why we're not gonna ever bring them back. It's like then drop the damn patterns. I think we're fine if you drop the damn patterns. Lots of things happen down there in the Helsinki. You might as well do it. It's like we'd have no idea which one's true about freaking Frieza and his time downstairs. It was either he's able to run free and watching as, the world being saved, or you send him to that freaking land of teddy bears and fairies. You have a big continuity issue there, and it's like, then why not allow Cell to actually not have his freaking pattern anymore? I think you'll be fine. I think you'll be perfectly fine. As for the other form, this was stuff like that. Let's see. So, Brawly is living with Beerus and Whis now, along with his two friends. Cool. Excuse me. Vegeta's learning how to fight differently, and for the first time ever, he actually beat Goku. But note, if he fought the same way as he did always, he would have lost. But this time, he actually used what Jiren might be using. So yeah. As for Piccolo and his orange form, cool. What about Bulma and wishing for the Dragon Balls? It's like, oh my gosh, that was cool that you kept the Dragon Balls safe, but it's bad that you keep on using the Dragon Balls to do like little things, and it's like, I thought you could actually just do one wish and store the Dragon Balls and you're good to go. I thought that's how it works, and apparently not anymore or not. It's like, what the frick? Of course, it would just, if you put the Dragon Balls away, then it's like, well, then they can use those two again and wish them back. Oh no, pothole. Oh my gosh, we rolled ourselves in a hole. It's like, not unless you do the following. There's no way how she has the Dragon Balls and just stored them somewhere and not have them locked up. I would kind of hope that she has like some kind of chest thing, and as soon as it's closed, it can't be open until like, a weeks or months or so. It's like there's a special code that you have to type in, and well, maybe she forgot the code. Maybe she actually had the code written down or something like that. I don't know. But it's like, yeah, it's better to have that locked box that keeps the Dragon Ball safe, and it's like you can't open it again after you used it. It's gonna take weeks for it to open, or days. Anyways, Gohan's beast form. One question though, he's like, yeah, here's a few things. Number one, he did actually attend the Tournament of Power though. I'm pretty sure he did. And he trained for it, and he got mostly close to the mystical powers again. And I think he was training at that point, but apparently within the time of the skip, 2 years, he just hasn't been training for 2 years. I'm pretty sure even though you don't train for 2 years, you still retain some of it, which I guess he technically he did in a way. But you would figure if it's supposed to be mystical or something, which I guess is most likely might be a mistranslation or something, I would figure he'll be like more angelic or something because it's mystical now. Yeah, or is it because of this he can, of course, mystical made it so that he can never actually reach to Super Saiyan 3. So does that mean a mystical balance, and because of his anger and all that stuff, it bent him out of shape? So basically this is kind of like the whole Greymon and Tai forcing Greymon to digivolve, and he got Skull Greymon. So I might be leaning towards where he corrupted his ascension, and now he has this beast form versus the angelic form that you would figure he'll get. I'm just saying. I'm just saying because mystical, I don't know. But I'm just saying that he could actually have two forms, and one form, if he actually did it in honor or whatever, awesome. The other one was because of stress and crap, and thus now he got this beast form. This beast form is fine. It kind of reminds me of Super Saiyan 3 just a tad bit. Just a tad little bit. Is there anything else? Well, I was hoping that they could still revive Gamma 2, but nope, he's gone. It's like withered away. Oh, and yet freaking Cell Max didn't wither away. It's like his hand just fell on the ground. It didn't disintegrate. Yeah, pieces of him that actually were like ashy. I think that's about it. So we'll see how this progress continues on. Hito and Gamma 1 will be in Capsule Corp. We don't know if there's going to be any cool cameos. And we have no idea that what we've seen from Dragon Ball Fighter Z will even affect what's going on in the manga or not in the anime. Because, well, if she actually exists, then it's like, then Android 21 exists, but on the other hand, it could just be the fact of where even though she exists, that doesn't mean that she went down the same path, meaning that we got variants here. We got the variant who eventually turns into Android 21, but of course she already died, so the original version of her already died. So that means that basically we could still actually go with the storyline of Dragon Ball Fighter Z, but I doubt we'll even do it. I doubt we'll actually do that type of thing. So I think that's about it. And interesting enough, we kind of get an answer to a question we don't actually ask about, which is what happens when Cell didn't actually have his blood of everyone he actually took. Because notice that I think Cell never actually did Kamehameha. I don't think he never did that. So yeah, he didn't do solar flare. He doesn't know anything that he actually found out how to do when they were taking blood samples secretly from all the Z fighters. So it's like, that's interesting. And in Dragon Ball Fighter Z, they did the same exact thing of where they took blood samples and they took a sample of Boo's blood, or Boo's whatever, and that's how we got to Android 21. So Android 21 is basically Cell incarnate. It's kind of interesting too, where it's like, well, where is she these days? It's like, yeah, it's like, because you would figure it's like, oh, they're making Cell again. She would so be jumping there as fast as he can and be like, here's my research, because she made a better Cell. She did the Cell project. I don't understand. Like, that's where the messed up part was. Like, so the Android 21, the data either is with her or B, it was just used to make her, and whoever did it was like, fuck you. Not gonna give it to anyone else. It's like, but if the Red Ribbon Army still existed to that day and you didn't actually give them the data, what the fuck? It's like, seriously, what the fuck? But it's like, you could say that they used the same exact data and got different results. Yeah, but even though that, I don't know, maybe they gave Android 21 time to develop and whammo, versus Cell Max, you just rushed it and this is what happened. But no, Cell Max was supposed to be controlled. Android 21 does not get to be controlled. She wasn't controlled. Let's see, anything else that needs to be mentioned? Let's see. I remember something, but I now forgot. Trying to remember just before we end this. So yeah, part of Cell. Oh yes, How in the world did no one actually notice? It's like, there's no freaking way. I mean, well, Boma. Boma's the only one that technically has that. It's like Boma and Yamcha. And it's like Yamcha wasn't even called into this freaking movie. Yamcha wasn't called. Tien. Well, good news for Tien. He is a part of a dojo now, so he doesn't have, free time to do that. Android 17 can't do it because he is protecting wildlife. So it makes sense that those two have not been here. But Yamcha should at least been looked and been like, oh, what the fuck? Doesn't this remind you? It's like, just remind me of something. Red Ribbon Army. Oh, what the fuck? Why do they have that freaking logo that looks like theirs? And it should have been a conversation with Boma. Boma's like, it might be a mere coincidence. Or, I think it's a good idea to look into it. It's like, it's weird how no one actually. Oh, what about freaking Pai Long? Is that his name? I think that was his name. Like Pai Long, the freaking pig guy. How the fuck did he not notice that? It's like, it gets to the point where it's like, there's a few people who should have noticed that they have the same exact logo and should be suspicious. And somehow you guys aren't suspicious at all. What the frick? That's what really kind of make them like, y'all guys are kind of dumb. You should have noticed that freaking logo and you'd be like, what the fuck? Like, seriously, it should have been like a total what the fuck moment as soon as it came in, like within a year. It's like, yeah, I know they're hush hush, but still though, they did have a freaking damn building with that logo on it. And it's not even the one that was like shielded away, because the one shielded away, that's not what, I don't think that's the one that they came from. I don't think so. It's like, I think they have one in the city and then they have one that's secretly there. It's like the one in the city, y'all guys should have been like, what the fuck? It's like, yeah, seriously, should be like, what the fuck? It's like, really? And plus, I'm pretty sure you should have already told Trunks about the stories. Heck, I think even Goten should have learned about the stories. And like, Red Ribbon Army. It's like, well, there is something that looks like the logo you showed us, and they show it. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, it's kind of weird how that one's like a little bit of cough up, but I'm just saying, Yamcha and Boma should have actually noticed that, and they should have been like, who, what, where now? It's like, yeah, it's like, where did you come from? How in the world that something so evil, the logo is not like unacceptable to be like real life? There's no one who can never actually copyright and use as a logo of a Confederate flag or the Nazi flag for that matter. It's like, those are considered evil and no one can use those as their own fucking logo. That's how the Red Ribbon Army should have worked. And it's like, even if you try to modify it, guess what? No, you can't do it because that was a sign of evil. So it should have been already a change. And I wish maybe that what they should have done was just make it look blue. It's like, yeah, it's Blue Ribbon Army. Yes, we're a blue pharmaceutical plant. And then it's revealed that, no, it's not blue, it's red, suckers. We got you good. Anyways, there's just no, it's like the thing that they're like, oh, we rid ourselves in a hole. We need to use all the Dragon Balls at once. This one's the worst hole of them all, being like, what the frick? Is this like a Clark Kent Superman situation here? We'll just have to see how the series continues, right?